Alright everyone, we're working on the Cutlass again. We got to fix this. Somebody before me did that because they broke this off. I did body mounts in this car that they weren't, and I think what happened was they broke that bolt and they just said, yep, we're done, and couldn't get it out and didn't go any farther because that's caged inside there. So my plan is to get in here and cut this open and then relieve the cage from out of there and get the nut freed, put it all back together, weld it up. And being that the fuel tank goes on this side and the frame goes on that side, you'll never be able to notice my sins. At least I'm hoping. But we've been doing a lot of grinding. I'm trying to clean this all up. You know, I'm hoping to recover the GoPro footage of me welding, because there's a lot of me and computer issues, but I've done a lot of welding underneath here. Perfect? No. But am I trying to clean it up perfect? No, because you can see the factory spot welds. I'm just trying to make it a little cleaner. It's been a little project. I would GoPro this on a time lapse, but I'm not having much luck with my GoPro right now. Me and it are having technical difficulties, so I will try to show you what I do as I go. I'm going to open her up and see what trouble I can get into with this, and keep working on this, because once I get all that done, then we got this is the old floor that came out. You got the center console mount, the shifter mount, which is the 4 holes, the hole for the shifter cable. I believe that's a front center console mount there. They're all self-tapping screws, so I believe they just go through and mount down. I got those are bucket seat mounts. That one's loose, but I got brand new ones of those. A little ahead of myself, as you can see. I welded that along that edge to put that back together. I'm going to grind and clean that up and then work on getting all of this put back together, but I already bent it up, kind of tapped it up. So, easy fix. Working on getting it put back together so it'll be ready to hold the bolt. Just for GP, because I can. This is a bolt from another body mount I was using for some other stuff. And goes right in. Yes, there's some wiggling back and forth, but that's why it's supposed to be like a cage nut, so if the frame's off or body mount's off, you got a little wiggle room. But like I said, I chased everything. Everything goes together fine. And a little bit more work here. This will look like, well, it'll look like it looks. And we'll get it painted and make it look as good as we can. It's not perfect, but it's all back together. Looks fairly good. You know, you could tell I was there, but definitely not pieces hanging out crazy. Best I can do, get it back together. Brackets are in place. Put a couple of Tech screws in. Put the seat in. Sat in it. Everything seems squared. Like I said, this is the only known that we have to base everything else off of, because this is where the seat goes. Even on the old floor, there's 2 holes. Seat goes here. So this is the only known. We have to base everything else off of that. I mean, they give you that kind of hole there, which even that's a little off, but it gives you an idea. You know, there's no instructions. I will watch a couple things online. They say you can put a bolt in there and it helps you line it up, or 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other, but that's still only these 2. That one, even when I pulled measurements between this and the old floor, which I'm not going to walk around and go look at, but we got it lined up. We're going to burn these in, put the seat back in, see how everything fits. And then we get to go do the other side. Tech screws are gone. Bunch of welding. Well, that's the known point, but welding, 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 welding. That's where that stuff's going to live. I mean, we can always grind it and adjust it, but we shouldn't have to. Everything fit the seat. Seat was square. I sat in it. Felt good. All right, here's the video you guys have all been waiting for. The seat, actually. And on the mounts, looks good to me. Like I said, I sat in it, felt reasonably center, comfortable. We're working on getting, that's the console mount. That's what holds the back of the console up. I didn't take a picture of it. I had the console set in here. That plier holding it up. With the shifter in place to the best of my positioning that I can tell. And it looked okay. So now I need to make sure this is in level. And then like that hole there, I believe needs to be moved a 1/2 inch towards the passenger side from taking the shifter out. If that hole is correct, and I mean I've measured it like 20 times versus the old floor, so I'm hoping that hole is correct. If that hole is correct, that needs to go a 1/2 inch in, and then the cable will be in the same spot as that one. Even though it's off, it's still where it says it needs to be. But I need to get this position figured out, ironed out, because that's what holds the back of the console. Actually, that's the only mounts on the console, surprisingly. Those 4 screws. That's it. No other mounts on this console. But yeah, that blows my mind. That there's no other mounts. There's nothing in the front. There's nothing else. Just those 4 mounts. Anyway, so we're trying to make sure everything's right and centered and squared, and so it fits between the buckets like it's supposed to. Well, here we go. We're going to try this hole for the shifter. I've measured, I've done everything, so here's hoping for the best. Oh. Yeah, we've gone and done it. I decided to move it just a little bit forward of the center line I had originally came up with. Jives more with the measurements, so let's hope. But we'll get this puppy, now that it's got a hole, I can actually line it up on the hole. Get this puppy, I'm going to actually bolt it down. Try to center the back, maybe drill a hole in the back. Shifter is in place, because that's where the shifter is going to live. I tacked the bracket in. It's not permanently mounted yet, but I think I want to move it a 1/2 inch back. I can drill new holes, which I might do that instead, but it's just tack welds. Move it back a little bit. I haven't checked the fit of the bottom console yet. I need to do that before I start drilling holes, but the shifter versus the indicator is off just a little bit. Back to what I previously said. I hadn't fit the center console yet. Now, it pretty much told me where it wants to live. And it is a little off. I am going to probably move the bracket back a little bit, because the screw holes are still a little bit off, and it's just tack welds. I mean, I could drill new holes in it and it'd probably live just fine, but I don't know. That's not what I want to do. I'm just, like I said, it lives right there nice and snug. We're gonna have to, and it's nice there. Somebody built the damn jungle gym in this car. Once you get the carpet in, because you got to factor that in too, it ought to fit nice and snug and fit around the carpet. So, well, actually, yeah, the carpet will fit around it, but not on the upper bracket. You'll have to cut that out. But like I said, the shifter and everything, the center console told me where it had to go. So we're going to make the necessary modifications to get it where it needs to be. Since I'm moving it, I figure I'd grab a quick video. There's the levels. And I'm going to use them to make sure that's flat. We moved it about 1/4 inch back from the first spot welds. You can see the spot weld there. I made the line there. So it should line up pretty good. We got that where it's going to live. It's welded on both sides. I'm not walking around to the other side. Shifter holes into the brace. That first hole, yeah, it went just through the floor, and it was next to the brace, and it just wasn't going to work out well. So back there, they both go into the brace, so that's good. That's the front hole for the shifter. Then I got to drill that hole yet. I'm going to remeasure, put the shifter in, remeasure, remeasure center there. Put the shifter back on the old floor and remeasure center there and make sure they're right, because when I did it earlier, had the shifter on the old floor, that needed to move over about a 1/2 inch. And I mean, 1/2 inch ain't nothing. I just want the cable and everything to flow as it needs to, so you can shift the car. But that's all done. I'm going to have to find some screws, because when I got this thing, I think it had like 2 screws in it. I'd like to put it back together the way it was. Alright, next project, getting these mounts. As you can tell, we put the seat in the car. Tried to square it up, checking the old floor, and I was pretty sure about where they went, but it didn't seem to want to fit the seat quite right, but I'm pretty sure where they're going. So we're going to probably measure it out, get an idea, tech screw them, you know, the wonderful tech screws over there. Put a couple tech screws in to hold them in place while we test fit them. Then we'll grind everything and weld them down and all that fun stuff. But this is the last big project, or I should say the last welding project, at least on this upper side, that we're going to have to do. We may have a couple of holes to fill underneath from the tech screws when we put the brackets in, and when we put these brackets in, there might be a hole I want to fill up because I don't want any holes before we paint. So alright, there's the driver's side, there's the passenger. We got them both in. Seat fits, but everything's cooling off, so seats are there. I didn't get any pictures of the seats all the way in, but everything fits. I actually had to redo that one. I put it basically in the same spot as this one, or measured, this one, or at least measured wise, but it didn't come out the same. And the seat, I got it in, couldn't get it out, but we got it done, we got it fixed. Now it all fits. Tomorrow, when everything cools down, has a good chance to cool because I made sure they weren't going anywhere, I will fit the seat and I will take pictures or a video of the seat all in there nice and clean. Well, I got it all cleaned out. Got to vacuum it, but I got all tools and everything. We have all the welding done as far as I'm concerned. The seat back brackets are in. I've test fitted the seat camera. Our phone was dead, so I didn't record any of that test fitting. The tabs are put in for the harness. All the brackets are good. I retest fitted the passenger seat, which I hadn't done. It's in, it's good. I have to do some cleaning, some sanding, and then some priming. We got to start seam sealing all of the seams. That way everything is a nice watertight, and get all that cleaned up and done. And then we'll be ready, hopefully, to paint soon, because that's the next big step. We got to get that painted. I still have to drill the 3 holes for that, which I'm going to do here very shortly. But I'm done welding. I truly believe I'm done welding. I would love